Set in 1870, a young Scottish boy named Jay ventures to America in search of his love, Rose. While lying under the stars, he navigates through constellations and playfully practices his shooting skills. Venturing deeper into the West, Jay remains unaware of the dangers lurking in the wild. Silas, who has been trailing Jay, reveals to the audience his perspective on the naive and vulnerable Jay, whom he likens to a rabbit lost among wolves. There's an ominous hint as distant gunshots are heard. Jay's journey takes a violent turn when he stumbles upon a hostile confrontation. Despite his pleas and attempts to clarify his origins, hostility escalates. The scene ends ominously as a pistol is raised, amplifying the danger Jay is in. After the violent confrontation, Silas nurses his gunshot wound. Seeing Jay alone, he offers to accompany him. With his knowledge of the hostile terrain and potential threats, Silas convinces Jay that traveling together would increase their chances of survival. They then focus on nursing Jay's injured pony. Here, Silas and Jay strike a deal for mutual protection heading west. As they ride on, their bond begins to grow, with Jay sharing the story of an unfortunate accident that caused the girl he's pursuing and her father to flee from Scotland. With Silas and Jay continuing their journey, Jay recalls a tragic accident that caused his love, Rose, to flee from Scotland. Relations begin to fray when their path crosses with violent men, leading to a fatal confrontation with a bow and arrow. Silas remains cynical of Jay's optimism. As they travel, he contemplates their vastly differing perspectives, Jay's, hopeful and looking for goodwill, and his own, one distrustful and wary, expecting betrayal at every turn. As Jay marvels at the stars, he fantasizes about a world on the moon and humorously refers to moon people or moon natives. His whimsy is interrupted by suspicious rustling in the wilderness, forcing the duo to quiet down. Silas reprimands Jay, indicating that he's tired of dealing with Jay's naivety. Jay and Silas continue their journey, with Jay curious about Rose. Silas describes her as a beautiful woman of few words, evading his question about their intimacy. As they approach a trading post, they hope for the luxury of a sit-down meal. Meanwhile, they are still aware of the bounty placed on their heads. At the trading post, Jay and Silas, conscious of the bounty hunters after them, have a sit-down meal. A man with a Swedish accent enters, asking for a blanket, adding to the tension as they continue to stay low and avoid confrontation. Disturbed by Johan's suspicious behavior, a bounty hunter confronts him at the trading post, leading to a violent confrontation. The bounty hunter shoots Johan, leaving the girl traumatized as she watches Johan fall to the ground. Despite her distress, the girl is instructed to breathe and focus. Jay recognizes the danger too late, as Johan's body is abandoned. Silas and the girl, unemotional, continue their journey into the conversational wilderness, leaving behind a grim scene. Johan is left behind while Silas and the girl continue. Jay seems to be struggling with matters of the heart, while Rose and John face a chaotic situation at their home with unidentified people speaking indistinctly. In a sudden turn of events, Lord Cavendish arrives demanding his nephew, Rose's fiancée, back. John, however, openly challenges the situation, asserting his relationship with Rose. Cavendish's entry causes an uproar, culminating with a slap. John encounters an enigmatic stranger, presumably of German origin, who practices peaceful demeanor. The stranger appears to have an interest in documenting the decline of Aboriginal tribes, prompting him to engage in a conversation with John while sipping coffee. In their conversation, both men share the harsh realities they've encountered, violence to the east and hardship to the west. The stranger's account suggests a grim future for the native tribes, their cultures threatened and possible extinction speculated. He criticizes the romanticization of such bleak realities in literature and art. The stranger shares that he took a life in order to escape his abusive company. Exhibiting a non-judgmental approach, Cookie offers him hospitality for the night and promises to provide him with advice in the morning. Jay reveals his name to Werner and thanks him for the hospitality. The next day, Jay hands over his entire money to an unnamed man, Cookie, asking him to ensure he reaches Rose safely. Silas gives Jay a shave to make him presentable for his elusive love, Rose. While preparing his shaving utensils, Silas comments on Charles Darwin's theory of evolution, hoping it doesn't hold true for their current situation. Jay's melancholic reflections on loneliness continue as Silas shaves him. The banter between the two deepens as Silas observes that survival isn't just about physicality but also about understanding when and how to react. Asked about his family, Silas shares his circumstances but doesn't dwell on the past. Jay and Silas's camaraderie is interrupted by the arrival of Payne. He offers a trade that gets turned down. Recognizing Payne, Silas expresses his dislike vividly. Payne quips back with a mischievous joke, diffusing the tension momentarily. As they share drinks, Payne asks Jay if he's heading north because of a special someone, trying to get under his skin with teasing. Jay answers the question about his birthday in a nonchalant manner, showing his disinterest in Payne's antics. Payne continues to provoke Jay with more pestering comments, this time suggesting that Jay is an outlaw like them. As the tension continues to build and drinks are shared, a gunshot suddenly goes off in the background. As the men continue to share a fire and drinks, Payne loosens his tongue. He postulates about Silas and Jay's alliance, labeling Silas a falling angel and Jay a rising devil. Sensing they have their own motives driving them, Payne suggests that Jay wouldn't be in their company if he had the faintest clue about the whereabouts of Rose and her father. Silas remains aloof when a drunk Payne inquires about his plans. Payne's gang members suddenly blindside them, and Jay wakes up to find Silas and Payne gone. When he asks about the river, he is simply told they took it. Payne and Skelly share their views on fame and killing. Skelly recounts the story of his former partner Bill Alson and his killer instinct, which aligns with Payne's ambition to gain respect and fame regardless of the cost. Skelly describes his tactic to put up wanted posters with increasing bounty to antagonize his partner Bill Alson into reckless actions. The stratum of fame even within the frontier outlaws is revealed, leaving Payne ruminating about his own pursuit of recognition. The gunshot Skelly and Bill hear in town becomes a deadly case of mistaken identity as another bounty hunter shoots down a stranger thinking it's Bill, hoping to claim the reward. Undeterred by witnessing this, Bill still emerges from hiding. Skelly shares a laugh with the townsfolk about mistaking a black bear for Bill during their drinking session. As Bill emerges into the goings-on, he stammers, indicating an appalling misunderstanding, likely about his true identity. Bill departs in embarrassment after realizing he's in the wrong camp. Encountering people in the woods, Silas confronts him about his love for Rose. When Bill confirms it, Silas claims her for himself, leading to an escalating tension between the two. As a storm threatens their journey, Silas and Jay take cover and share a moment of relative peace. Jay's mind wanders toward Rose, his sadness apparent. In an attempt to lighten the mood, Silas addresses Jay affectionately, only to be interrupted by the sound of rushing water. Caught out in a storm, panic ensues when Jay loses his gun. Silas comes to his aid and they manage to find shelter. Meanwhile, Rose sips her morning coffee, grumpy and nursing a headache from the night before. During their journey, Jay learns from Silas about his past life in Payne's gang. When they unexpectedly run across a bounty hunter, Silas quickly educates Jay on what this means: danger for Rose and a bloodthirsty hunt for money. Silas informs Jay that the reward for Rose might attract more bounty hunters. He then guides Jay through a forest called Silver Ghost, where people are known to enter and never return with the hopes of evading Payne's gang. Jay is visibly frustrated and alarmed by Silas's actions and the danger therein. Suddenly, there is a knock on the door, adding to their tense situation. Rose's father mistakenly reveals to the stranger, who is actually Reverend Victor Self, that his daughter Rose is with him. Frustrated by her father's carelessness, Rose reprimands him for giving away their identity and location. A possible benefactor arrives in Reverend Victor Self, reigniting Rose's father's faith. Meanwhile, Jay recites religious scriptures to find solidarity amidst fears. Silas, apparently afflicted by a hangover, tries to dismiss Jay's hallucinations of moving trees. Amid uncertainties, Silas and Jay run into a panic-stricken situation involving horses and noise. Jay moves forward to confirm a revelation, feeling certain of his instincts, only to find Silas seemingly unresponsive. After an outbreak with horses, Jay fervently insists he will protect Rose, even at the cost of his own life, while Silas responds with a veiled threat. Meanwhile, distant hammering sounds hint at potential danger nearby. A gunshot signals an attack on the house where Rose and John Ross are. Jay rushes in to warn them, stepping into an altercation that leaves unidentified bodies on the floor. Gunshots intensify, emphasizing the growing threat to Rose's family. As the hailstorm of bullets persists, Jay helps counter the attackers, killing numerous unidentified men. Following an intense firefight, the gunfire finally ceases, leaving the room eerily silent. Jay frantically searches for coterie amid the chaos, while Silas tries to lighten the tense atmosphere by singing. Despite their efforts, the unending gunfire continues, leaving them all on edge. Amidst the ongoing gunfire, a panting Jay ventures into the danger zone looking for coterie. Shots are being fired and glass shatters, implying an intense conflict taking place. Silas manages to shoot down an opponent, coughing amidst the danger and violence. As the firefight rages on, Jay finds Coterie severely injured. Coterie weakly whispers Rose's name, suggesting she may be involved in the conflict. Meanwhile, Silas confronts Rose, declaring that her scheme is over. Silas stands by Jay's side as Rose heartlessly dismisses his affection. Silas acknowledges there's more to life than survival, something he learned from Jay, to whom he credits his life. The trio's future seems uncertain.